Okay, so today I'm gonna propose a 3-camera setup, which I think is the perfect setup for most people, whether you're filming videos for social media, for YouTube like this video, or whether you're shooting professional stuff, or even just as a hobby, or even travel content. About a year ago, I took a trip to Taiwan with a brand, and I took a whole bunch of gear with me, as a lot of us actually end up doing. I had like the FX3, which I'm shooting on right now. I have the Sony A7C II. I took my 24-70 G Master lens. I took this prime 16mm G lens. So I had a pretty big kit. And what I was shocked to realize is that most of the gear that I was using was the gear that was the most on the go, quick to use, getting me the most value in terms of my time and money investment. And I think I've narrowed it down to literally just 3 pieces that you're gonna need. And one of them you probably already have as well. Whether I was filming on the streets of Taipei or in the mountain ranges in Taiwan, in Alishan, or whether I'm filming here in Canada or even inside this studio, like I don't need anything more than this. So let's get into it. On my trip to Taiwan, I ended up taking, as I mentioned, the FX3 and the A7C II. 95% of the time, all of the shots were shot on this little camera right here, the Sony A7C II. Highly capable, and you'd be like, I was surprised myself, right? Because I have a cinema camera and it's supposed to be like twice or thrice the price of this, but it lived inside the safe inside my hotel room for like the entire trip. And let me tell you why exactly. Because first, the image coming out of the Sony A7C II, even now in 2026, is so freaking good that you won't even be able to tell the difference. Like 95% of the people, heck, even more, wouldn't be able to tell the difference between footage coming out of an A7C II or the FX3. It's just that good. And the other thing is, because this thing is so small, like look how small it is. It literally fits in the palm of my hand. It is pretty much pocketable. I can throw it into any bag. I can just kind of throw it on a strap, throw it around my neck, on the side of my body, and I don't even realize it's there. So it started to become the camera that was always there whenever I needed it, and I wasn't, hesitant to take it. Form factor wise, this thing is unbeatable. The other thing I gotta say is the fact that this has a 33 megapixel sensor compared to the 12 megapixel sensor on the FX3. Now that means this is the perfect hybrid camera. And when you're traveling, or even when you're out and about, or you're filming social media content, sometimes you need to snap that thumbnail. Sometimes when you're traveling, you need to take some nice photos for the gram, right? Or even photos of yourself. And having that 33 megapixels on this just makes this far better of a hybrid camera than the FX3, because now I have something I can crop into for Instagram. I can kind of like position the photo. Now look, obviously if you're shooting in darkness, the FX3 is going to be like far better, or even the ZV-E1, which is probably another really popular comparison you guys are gonna make to this camera. And yeah, it's fantastic. You can shoot in 12,800 ISO, but honestly, I found the 3200 ISO on this just good enough. Like in a lot of situations, I'm not shooting in pitch black, but I do need that little bit of a boost. So with this, the 3200 as the dual base ISO, perfectly fine. Now another comparison naturally to this is the ZV-E1, but I still prefer the A7C II for 2 main reasons. 1, it has a much bigger megapixel count, so this is a true hybrid camera. And 2, this camera just feels so much better than the ZV-E1. I had the ZV-E1 as well, and then I ended up selling it because it felt way too plasticky. It felt like a toy, versus this, like I love this two-tone look as well. Like everything just comes together so nicely. I also like having this mode dial here for really quick switching between photo, video, S&Q, and even your different settings here, which you don't really get with the ZV-E1 as well. Now look, there are some downsides to this compared to like an A7 IV or A7 V or even the FX3, and that is, for example, this SD card slot. There's no dual SD card slot. You only have 1 slot here, and it doesn't take CF Express A card. And then the other problem that some of you guys might mention is that you have a crop on 4K 60 on the A7C II, which naturally you don't have on the FX3 and stuff. But the crop doesn't bother me too much, because whenever I'm shooting slow motion, like if I'm shooting 4K 60, it's usually on like a zoomed in target, and I'm trying to get that nice slow motion, so it didn't really affect me that much. 90% of the time, 95% of the time when I'm vlogging or running around shooting, I'm shooting in 4K 24 anyway, so it's not a big deal for me. But what was a big deal for me is the rolling shutter. The rolling shutter on the A7C II is actually noticeably worse compared to the FX3, and that part did kind of annoy me a little bit, especially if you're like on the wide end, you're vlogging, you're kind of moving your camera around. You do notice that rolling shutter a little bit, but then again, that's a bit of a nitpicky thing, which also brings me to the next point. Another reason why this camera I like better than the ZV-E1 and even the FX3 for run and gun filmmaking is the APS-C mode. Because of the larger sensor, I can crop in. So let's say, for example, and I'm going to talk about this shortly, but the 16mm G prime lens, that's the reason I paired these two together, because I can go ahead and shoot in 16mm wide, but when I need a little bit more range, I can just go into APS-C mode and I get a 24mm equivalent, which is fantastic. And I think that's what makes this combo so freaking good. So let's talk about this lens and why I decided to go with this over the 16-35 f2.8. This lens lived on my camera 90% of the time when I was in Taiwan, and I absolutely love this lens. This thing comes in at 304 grams. It's about 800 bucks, right? You're not paying that G Master pricing, and you can get this at a very good cost, especially used if you look on the market now. And just the form factor paired with the Sony A7C II, this is a goated combo. Like, this is so good. You still have the aperture ring here for real quick navigation. You have an AF/MF switch here. You have an iris lock. This thing is like, it has everything you need. You even have your single button here for like, if you wanted to like lock focus or whatnot. But the main reason why I decided to go with this over the 16-35 is this. It shoots at f1.8, and compared to f2.8, especially on the wide end, it makes a noticeable difference for me. It almost feels like I'm popping out a lot more compared to an f2.8 lens, which for me on the wide end especially, it just gives a very nice stylized look that I personally am a huge fan of, right? And honestly, coming in at just half the weight of the 16-35 and the size as well, this was just such a great combo. But yeah, you can always carry another tighter lens, like, or even if you just want to take like an 85 or 50mm prime with you, you can always still cover that distance shot and still have this as your go-to lens for vlogging and whatnot, because just the package of this is just so good to pass up, especially if you're trying to do run and gun filmmaking. But look, there's still always moments where even this seems a little bit daunting to take with you or to pull out, and that's where the iPhone is such a great camera to have with you at all times. Like, I can't tell you how handy this is. In so many of my vlogs and my videos and stuff that you guys have watched, I have used my iPhone extensively in those shots, and a lot of times people don't even realize that I've switched between my cinema cameras and like my mirrorless cameras and the iPhone. People just assume it's the same thing, and at the end of the day, I think we underestimate how much storytelling matters. When you're doing storytelling right, people are not noticing the drop in quality with the phone. And look, I will say, this thing chugs its weight, right? If you turn on like log recording especially, this thing has been an absolute beast to take with you anywhere you go. Also, the other thing is you kind of just blend in, right? Like, especially in certain situations where you're in. If I on the street am like filming people with this or taking photos, people are gonna be a little more, you know, like anxious, or they're gonna be like, what's that guy doing? Why is he filming me? But if I have my phone out and I'm just filming, it almost just gives me that tourist vibe, and they're like, oh, he's just a tourist filming the location. So you can be a lot more inconspicuous with your shots. Now, also, it doesn't really matter whether you're using an iPhone, like the S26 Ultra also now is excellent, the S25, the Fold 7, all excellent phones. Just have a nice flagship phone with you and you are good to go. Okay, and now for the last camera, and honestly, these shots I'm about to show you, like, no camera can do. Like, you need one of these bad boys. Honestly, this is the sauce that can take your video from like here to like here. It's that little bit of seasoning that you sprinkle up on top that can literally take your video to the next level, right? Like that travel vlog that I made of Taiwan with all the premium accessories. Make sure you guys watch that video, by the way. One of the best videos I've ever made in my life, I think. My goodness, the drone shots literally elevated that video so much, and it can do the same for you as well, because like when you throw this into like your YouTube videos, your social media content, or, you know, client videos, or any sort of travel film, it just adds that little bit of jazz that it needs for that video to stand out. Because not everybody is thinking of that, and not everybody is doing that. Now, a couple things I want to talk about this drone for is, a lot of people think, oh, if I have to get this drone, I gotta really learn how to fly it, it's gonna be difficult, I need a license and all of that. Not true on all of those counts. So the good thing about this drone is that it's under 250 grams, and majority of the places that you're gonna go and look, or even in the place that you live, search up the rules or laws and regulations for drone usage, and you'll find that most places allow drones for under 250 grams to be flown without a license or registration or anything like that, because it's a much smaller drone and whatnot. Now, when you go above this category to like a Mavic 4 Pro, which I have as well, then the regulations change. You kind of need a license, you have to have things registered and whatnot. Oh, and totally forgot to mention the Mini 4 Pro as well as the Mini 5 Pro can shoot in like vertical as well. So if you're shooting specifically for like IG or TikTok or something, or YouTube Shorts, so the camera even turns like vertical and you can kind of like shoot in vertical mode, which is really nice. There's literally nothing in my kit with a higher impact to dollar ratio that you can get with this. It just looks so nice. So yeah, that's it. The entire kit, the 3 camera setup that will help elevate your filmmaking to the next level. Like this, if you have this, you're pretty much good to go in my opinion. The A7C II with a 16mm prime, a nice phone, in this case an iPhone 16 or 15 or 17 Pro Max, and a DJI Mini 4 Pro. I think if you have these 3 in your kit, you're set. The A7C II gets me cinematic photos and videos in one body, all while being super compact and small. iPhone catches what I would have missed with my mirrorless camera and allows me to film in areas where I don't necessarily want to take or bring out my camera, and the drone gives me the shot that nothing else on the market can. So yeah, this 3 combo, chef's kiss. But yeah, in any case, I know this video was a little bit more nerdy than my usual videos, but if you guys did enjoy this video, it would mean the world to me if you guys liked, subscribed, and check out my other video, the actual Taiwan video I'm talking about right here, and this other video that YouTube thinks you're gonna like, and I will see you guys there. Thank you so much, take care.